Hi everyone. Let me just give me a minute as usual to get my sprints up. Oops. Share. There. Oops. Okay. So I just basically really needed to hold myself accountable and get to work because I haven't been, well, no, not true. I have been productive this morning with laundry and boring stuff like that. And I did the luggage for my son because he now left to see my parents for a week, and we're going to join him next Monday on the 11th. So is that on Monday? I think so. Yeah, until the 14th, and we're coming back on the 14th. But yeah, that's what I've been doing this morning, and that's it. I really need to get to work. I have a lot to get done. I am mainly, as it says on my little name here, mainly going to be working on my online shop. I am starting my business coaching program very soon. So I'm really excited, and I need to work on that because Etsy has been not very friendly with creators, and it's a stressful. And hi, Princess, thank you for coming. Yeah, I had to put my Etsy shop on vacation mode because I can't deal with the mess they put up. It's bad. So yeah, I put it on vacation for now, and I have another platform which is mainly local where I'm going to put some products that I sell there and see what that'll do for now until I get my coaching feedback and stuff. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Boring online stuff. Let me know what you'll be doing, if you're going to be reading or else, whatever. I don't know how long I'll be staying since my son isn't there anymore. It'll be easy for me. I don't know how much time. Words. I don't know how much time I can go on for a long time. Usually it's I cut short for bedtime and all that stuff, but I won't have to do that tonight. He might call later, but we'll see. I will be reading, working on school stuff, things like that. Also counting my books. Ooh, I want to know the final count of your books. I'm very curious to know. And what are you reading? I hope school is going good for you. I hope it's going well. Reading wise, I did finish Becoming by Michelle Obama. I finished that this morning, early this morning, which I really enjoyed. Didn't give any rating because I don't like giving ratings on memoirs or like stuff about what people has been through and their experience. I feel like I'm not entitled to put a rating on that, but I really enjoyed the read. I will definitely let you know. Okay, cool. I hope this is gonna work because I need to work on my computer. I only have one screen, so I hope that I'll be able to share my screen and still be able to work on my stuff with the timer. I'll just pull a timer here. 40 minutes sounds good. Mm. I'm reading Hero of Ages. Also reading Akatar. Oh, nice. Cool. Hope you're enjoying your rereads. Do different sessions instead of tabs. Yeah, that's what I was aiming for. I hope it'll work. Have StreamYard timer on one session of Chrome, then open up another session for work stuff. Yeah. Let's hope it works. I don't have any timer ready either, so we'll go with this for now. 30 minutes to start off. I'm gonna make myself an iced coffee as well. My husband just bought us a cold brew press kind of thing to make iced coffee, which I really enjoy. So I'm gonna make myself one. No patience. All right, let's go with this one. Okay, so we'll start with 30 minutes and see. Tabs always show me up. Yeah, I get that. No worries. I need to grab my notebook. Good. All right, so I'll try this. Hopefully, like this. That makes sense. And go with 30 minutes to start with. I hate when it does that because it doesn't show my other sessions. Annoying. Okay, let's see if I can do something else instead. Oopsies. I was going to make a big boo-boo. Shut this one. Check this. Oops. Does it work? All right. No, I can't do that. Let's just go with it like this. Okay, I can't I can't find a way to make the timer stay on the screen. So what I'll do is I'll just put it on and oh, I can do a banner though. I'll try and do the banner, and we can sprint until 0, 0. Does that make sense? I think we're gonna go like that because yeah, this is not working and I need to work on my computer. So let's go with that. I'll still put the sound on so you can hear it if you want it. Oops. There you go. Let's go with that. That's annoying. Okay, thank you. Happy reading, everyone. Oh my god. I'm working on my online shop. So that's why it's not working, because I need to get those tabs down so I can actually work on my shop online, and it's not working. So I'll just leave the little banner thing instead. No, it's not working as I want it to work. So it's okay. See you in 30 minutes. Yeah, Etsy has not been very kind to us creators lately, so yeah, it's something. All right, everyone, how did we do? Let me know. I actually decided mid sprint to pick up an audiobook. Since I finished Becoming by Michelle Obama, I decided to pick up the next audiobook that I had borrowed that is due in like 5 days. And it's Radium Girls. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to like go through it like all in one go. It's not a fun read. Interesting, but yeah, not easy. Not an easy read to do at all. But yeah, I didn't listen to much. Only a couple, not even 10%. So 3%. So not that much. But yeah. And then I managed to get some listings done too. Two listing done. Yeah. It's on a new platform, and it's more about like local buying here in the province of Quebec. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that because Etsy has made things even more complicated than before. It's annoying, and yeah, I honestly don't know how to deal with it. So that's why I put it on vacation mode so I can deal with it later and see what other creators are doing and how they're dealing with it and what's the best action plan for me. But yeah, because I do want to keep mostly my American buyers. I want to keep that market. And if I have my own website, it's not the same thing. It's going to be harder to get it and all that stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Complicated. I do want to eventually have my own website, but that's a lot. That's very time consuming as well. So we'll see how that goes. I can take that banner off. There you go. How did it go? Okay, I got 2 listings done. And yeah, I picked up Radium Girls. 3% of that read on audiobook. I'm not sure how far I can get into it before I just stop listening to it and just listen to some booktube videos instead because it seems to be a very tough read. But yeah, how did you go? How did you do? Actually, let me know. I'm gonna drink my coffee while I wait. I'm not done counting. I'm not surprised because you have a lot of books, and I'm pretty sure that like most of your books we don't even see on camera. So I can't imagine how long that is going to take. I'm I'm betting that you have at least 1,000 books. At least. Maybe 1,200. I'm very curious to see. I do have a lot. Yeah. 800 so far. Are you halfway through? Or more than halfway? At the moment, yeah. Interesting. I would love to have 800 books. I have 2 shelves left. Oh, that's not too bad. That's good. And the living room. Okay. Then I will count my red and doubles. Those are the books you haven't read yet? Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm back. It's fine. No worries. How did you do? Did you read? Yeah, I picked up Radium Girls. Started reading that, and it's a little bit tough, even if I only read 3%. So we'll see how much progress I'll get into that. And I made 2 listings. That's good declutter. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I'm going to change this because I didn't enjoy it. Oh my gosh. I hate seeing my face like that on YouTube. Or maybe it's downsized. She does unhole a lot, though. That's the thing, too. She unholes a lot. Yeah, I know. I wish I had 800 books. Yeah, you do, which is good. And I'm not judging your buying habits. It's taken me 4 years to get here. I can imagine that having over 800 books can take a long time to get there, for sure. It's bad and good. Well, yeah. I mean, if you don't read the books, they're mostly just taking dust. Um, but yeah, I love to just look at my books, even if I know like half of it I haven't read, and maybe not half of it, but close-ish. I'll unhold 5 and get 25. It's interesting. Yeah, it be yeah, it does tend to grow if you haul more books than you unhaul, for sure. No one's perfect. It's all good. See, collecting books, it's a hobby, and I'm not judging that hobby at all. You do you. I want campfire instead. Mm, this one is interesting. Let's go with that. I have the room, I don't have kids, and I'm happy, so I consider it perfect. See? It all works out. And even if like I have a kid and I still buy myself a lot of books, I'm very picky when it comes to toys, and I do find that like my son has way too many toys, in my opinion. But I do try to diversify the type of toys that he has so that he can play differently with all of his toys. But when it comes to book, it's the one thing that I never say no to, and it's one of his favorite stores. So if I go to the bookstore and I didn't buy him a book, and I bought myself some books, I'm not gonna hear the end of that for sure. Um, yeah, you never have too many books, never. And you do have the room, so, and the budget, so that's fine. It's perfect. Okay, let's do another. Let's go with 30 minutes since I can't put up any timer up because I'm working on the computer and it doesn't seem to be working for me. But yeah, and I'll start the next one at 15 and finish at 45 if that is okay with everyone. I agree. See, makes sense. Okay, let's do it. Time to finish the counting. I'm very curious to see the final count. I don't think I ever counted my books. I know how many I have unread, but with my read ones, I have no idea. I'd have to do that one day. Stretching math skills. Be safe. Yeah, I'd definitely be marking and using a system to not be confused where I'm at, because I for sure would forget where I'm at and be confused, and I'd have to start over a couple of times for sure. One day, just not today. Nope, not today. I do have a lot of filming to do soonish, and don't feel like it, honestly. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see how I feel. But we did have like some errands to run today, so I hate filming when I have a ton of things to do. And it was laundry and my son's luggage and all that stuff. It was not the best day to film. All right, so I'll put up this one here, and I'll see you all in 30 minutes.
pretty girl with curly chestnut hair, hazel eyes, and clear-cut features. Many called her striking, but her looks weren't of much interest to Grace. Instead, she was career-minded, someone who, at the age of 18, was already fashioning a prosperous life for herself. She was, in short, a girl enthused with living. She soon excelled at dial painting, becoming one of the company's fastest workers, with an average production rate of 250 dials a day. A young woman called Irene Corby also signed on that spring. The daughter of a local hatter, she was a very cheerful girl, aged about 17. She had a very humorous disposition, revealed her sister Mary, exceptionally so. Irene instantly got on well with her co-workers, with Grace in particular, and they regarded her as one of the more skilled employees. It fell to May Coverley and Josephine Smith to train the new girls. The women sat side by side at long tables running the full width of the studio. There was a walkway in between them, so Miss Rooney could continue her over-the-shoulder inspections. The instructresses taught them how to dab a tiny amount of the material, the girls always called the radium, the material, into their crucibles, like a fine smoke in the air, and then mix the paint carefully. Even the softest stirring, however, left most women with splashes on their bare hands. Then, once the paint was mixed, they instructed them to lip point. She told me to watch her and imitate her, Catherine remembered of her training. As surely as night follows day, Grace and Catherine and Irene followed the instructions. They put the brush to their lips, dipped it in the radium, and painted the dials. It was a lip, dip, paint routine. All the girls copied each other, mirror images that lipped and dipped and painted all day long. They soon found the radium hardened on their brushes. A second crucible was supplied, ostensibly for cleaning the bristles, but the water was changed only once a day and soon became cloudy. It didn't so much clean as spread the bristles, which some workers found a hindrance. They simply used their mouths to dampen the brush instead. Others, however, always used the water. I know I done it, one said, because I couldn't stand that gritty taste in my mouth. The taste of the paint was a source of debate. It didn't taste funny, Grace observed. It didn't have any taste. Yet, some ate the paint specifically because they liked it. Another new worker tasting the magic element that summer was 16-year-old Edna Bowles. Here is a person, Popular Science later wrote of her, blessed from birth with a sunny disposition. She was taller than many of her co-workers, though still only 5'5", and had an innate elegance about her. She was nicknamed the Dresden Doll because of her beautiful golden hair and fair coloring. She also had perfect teeth and, perhaps as a result, a beaming smile. Over time, she became close to the forelady, Miss Rooney, who described her as a very nice type of girl, very clean living type of very good family. Edna's passion was music, and she was also devoutly religious. She joined in July, at a time when production was rocketing due to wartime demand. That summer, the plant was a ferment of activity. The place was a madhouse, one worker exclaimed. The girls were already doing overtime to keep up with demand, working 7 days a week. Now, the studio started operating night and day. The dial painters glowed even brighter from the radium against the dark windows, a workshop of shining spirits laboring through the night. Though the pace was demanding, the setup was in many ways fun for the women, who reveled in the drama of the long shifts painting dials for their country. The majority were teenagers, merry, giggling girls, and they found time for the odd bit of fun. One favorite game was to scratch their name and address into a watch, a message for the soldier who would wear it. Sometimes he would respond with a note. New girls were joining all the time, which made the job even more sociable. In Newark, perhaps 70 women had worked in the studio. During the war, that number more than tripled. The girls now sat crammed in at both sides of the desks, only a few feet apart. Hazel Vincent was among them. Like Catherine Sharp, she came from Newark. She had an oval face with a button nose and fair hair that she set in the latest styles. Another new worker was 21-year-old Albina Maggia, the daughter of an Italian immigrant who came from a family of 7 girls. She was the third. She was a somewhat round and diminutive woman of only 4'8", with classic Italian dark hair and eyes. She was pleased to get back into the world of work. As the eldest unmarried daughter, she'd quit her hat-trimming job to nurse her mother, who died the year before. But she discovered she was not the fastest dial painter. She found the brushes very clumsy and painted only a tray and a half a day. Nonetheless, she tried as hard as she could, later remarking, "I always did my best for that company." Joining Albina at the long wooden desks was her little sister Amelia, whom everyone called Molly. She seemed to have found her calling at the studio being unusually productive. A foot taller than Albina, she was a sociable 19-year-old with a broad face and bouffant brown hair, often seen laughing with her colleagues. She got on particularly well with another newcomer, Eleanor Eckert, nicknamed Ella. The two were as thick as thieves. Ella was popular and good-looking, with blonde, slightly frizzy hair and a wide smile. A sense of fun was never far from her, whether she was at work or play. The girls would socialize and eat lunch together, barely stopping work as they shared food across the crowded desks. The company also organized social events. Picnics were a favorite. The dial painters, dressed in white summer dresses and wide-brimmed hats, would eat ice cream cones while sitting on the narrow makeshift bridge that lay across the brook by the studio, swinging their legs or holding on to one another as they tried not to fall in the water. The picnics were for all employees, so at these events, the girls got to mix with their co-workers, whom they rarely saw, the men who worked in the laboratories and refining rooms. It wasn't long before the odd office romance began. May Coverley started walking out with Ray Canfield, a lab worker, one of many blossoming relationships among the girls, though most were not with colleagues. Hazel Vincent, for one, was in love with her childhood sweetheart, a mechanic called Theodore Kuzer, who had baby blue eyes and fair hair. The company's founder, Sabin von Sahatsky, an Austrian-born 34-year-old doctor, could often be seen holding court at these picnics, seated among his workers on a rug, his jacket off, and a beaker of cold drink in one hand. The girls seldom saw him in their studio. He was usually too busy working in his lab to grace them with his presence, so it was a rare opportunity for their paths to cross. It was he who had invented the luminous paint they used back in 1913, and it had certainly been a success for him. In his first year, he had sold 2,000 luminous watches. Now, the company's output ranked in the millions. In many ways, he was an unlikely entrepreneur, for his training had been in medicine. Initially, he'd intended the paint to be a pot boiler to fund medical research, but the growing demand had necessitated a more businesslike approach. He had met a kindred soul in Dr. George Willis, and the two physicians had founded the company. Von Sahatsky was, according to his colleagues, a remarkable man. Everyone called him simply the doctor. He was indefatigable, someone that liked to start late, but is then willing to go on and on until all hours. American Magazine called him one of the greatest authorities in the world on the subject of radium, and he had studied under the best, the Curies themselves. From them, and from the specialist medical literature he had studied, von Sahatsky understood that radium carried great dangers. Around the time he studied with the Curies, Pierre was heard to remark that he would not care to trust himself in a room with a kilo of pure radium, as it would burn all the skin off his body, destroy his eyesight, and probably kill him. The Curies, by that time, were intimately familiar with radium's hazards, having suffered many burns themselves. Radium could cure tumors, it was true, by destroying unhealthy tissue, but it was indiscriminating in its powers, and could devastate healthy tissue too. Von Sahatsky himself had suffered its silent and sinister wrath. Radium had got into his left index finger, and when he realized, he hacked the tip of it off. It now looked as though an animal had gnawed it. Of course, to the layman, all this was unknown. The mainstream position, as understood by most people, was that the effects of radium were all positive, and that was what was written about in newspapers and magazines, championed across product packaging, and performed on Broadway. Nonetheless, the lab workers in von Sahatsky's plant in Orange were provided with protective equipment. Lead-lined aprons were issued, along with ivory forceps for handling tubes of radium. In January 1921, von Sahatsky would write that one could handle radium only by taking the greatest precautions. Yet, despite this knowledge and the injury to his own finger, von Sahatsky was apparently so transfixed by radium that all reports say he took little care. He was known to play with it, holding the tubes with his bare hands while watching the luminosity in the dark, or immersing his arm up to the elbow in radium solutions. Company co-founder George Willis was also lax, picking up tubes of radium with his forefinger and thumb, not bothering with forceps. Perhaps, understandably, their colleagues learned from them what they did. No one heeded the warnings of Thomas Edison, working just a few miles away inside of the Orange plant, who once remarked, "There may be a condition into which radium has not yet entered that would produce dire results. Everybody handling it should have a care." Yet, in the sunny second-floor studio, the girls working there had not a care in the world. Here there were no lead aprons, no ivory-tipped forceps, no medical experts. The amount of radium in the paint was considered so small that such measures were not deemed necessary. The girls themselves, of course, had no clue that they might even be needed. This was radium, the wonder drug they were using. They were lucky, they thought, as they laughed among themselves and bent their heads to their intricate work. Grace and Irene, Molly and Ella, Albina and Edna, Hazel and Catherine and May. They picked up their brushes and they twirled them over and over, just as they had been taught. Lip, dip, paint. 3. Wars are hungry machines, and the more you feed them, the more they consume. As the fall of 1917 wore on, demand at the factory showed no signs of slowing. At the height of operations, as many as 375 girls, existing workers eagerly promoted the job to their friends, sisters, and cousins. It wasn't long before whole sets of siblings were seated alongside each other, merrily painting away. Albina and Molly Magia were soon joined by another sister, 16-year-old Quinta. She was an extremely attractive woman with large gray eyes and long dark hair. She considered her pretty teeth her best feature. Down to earth and kind, her favorite pastimes included card games, checkers, and dominoes. She also confessed cheekily, "I don't go to church half as often as I should." She hit it off brilliantly with Grace Fryer, and the two became inseparable. Grace was another who brought her little sister to work. Adelaide Fryer adored the social side of it, being a very gregarious girl who loved to be around people. But she wasn't quite as sensible as her big sister. In the end, she was fired for talking too much. The girls may have been sociable, but they still had a job to do, and if they didn't knuckle down and do it, they were out. It could be tough. As Catherine Sharp had observed in Newark, the girls were under a lot of pressure. If a worker failed to keep up, she was criticized. If she fell short repeatedly, she eventually lost her job. The only time the girls really saw Mr. Savoy, whose office was downstairs, was when he came to scold them. The biggest issue was the wasting of the paint. Each day, Miss Rooney issued a set amount of powder to the girls for completing a particular number of dials, and they had to make it last. They could not ask for more, but neither could they eke it out. If the numerals were not sufficiently covered by the material, it would show up during inspection. The girls took to helping each other out, sharing material if one found she had a little extra left over. And there were also their water dishes filled with the radium sediment. Those, too, could be a source of extra material. But the cloudy water hadn't gone unnoticed by the company bosses. Before too long, the crucibles for cleaning the brushes were removed, with the explanation that too much valuable material was wasted in the water. Now the girls had no choice but to lip point, as there was no other way to clean off the radium that hardened on the brush. As Edna Bowles observed, without so doing, it would have been impossible to have done much work. The girls themselves were also targeted in the drive to limit waste. When a shift was over and they were about to leave for home, they were summoned to the darkroom to be brushed off. The sparkling particles were then swept from the floor into a dustpan for use the next day. But no amount of brushing could get rid of all the dust. The girls were covered in it. Their hands, arms, Edna Bowles remembered that even after the brushing down, you could see where I was. My hair. The girls shone, like the watches did in the darkroom, as though they themselves were timepieces, counting down the seconds as they passed. They glowed like ghosts as they walked home through the streets of Orange. They were unmissable, unassailable. The residents of the town noticed not just the wraith-like shine, but also the expensive, glamorous clothes, for the girls dressed in silks and furs, more like matinee idlers than factory workers, a perk of their high wages. Despite the attractions of the job, however, it wasn't for everyone. Some found the paint made them sick. One woman got sores on her mouth after just a month of working there. Though the girls all lip-pointed, they did so at different intervals, which perhaps accounted for the varying reactions. Grace Fryer found that I could do about 2 numbers before the brush dried, whereas Edna Bowles lip-pointed on every number, sometimes even 2 or 3 times per number. Quinta Magia did the same, even though she hated the taste. I remember chewing the paint. Gritty, it got between my teeth. I remember it distinctly. Catherine Sharp was one of the more infrequent pointers. Only 4 or 5 times per watch would she slip the brush between her lips. Nonetheless, when she suddenly broke out in pimples, which could have been due to her hormones, for she was still only 15, she was perhaps mindful of some of her colleagues' adverse reactions as she decided to consult a doctor. To her concern, he asked her if she worked with phosphorus. This was a well-known industrial poison in Newark, and it was a logical suspicion, but it made Catherine feel anything but logical and calm. For it wasn't only her acne that caused the doctor concern. There were changes, he noted, in Catherine's blood. Was she sure she didn't work with phosphorus? The girls weren't entirely clear what was in the paint. Flummoxed by her doctor's questions, Catherine turned to her colleagues. When she told them what her physician had said, they became frightened. En masse, they confronted Mr. Savoy, who tried to allay their fears. But this time, his words about the paint being harmless fell on deaf ears. And so, as any middle manager would do, he went to his managers. Soon after, George Willis came over from New York to lecture the girls on radium and convince them it was not dangerous. Von Sahotsky also participated. There was nothing hazardous in the paint, the doctors promised. The radium was used in such a minuscule amount that it could not cause them harm. And so the girls turned back to their work, their shoulders a little lighter, Catherine probably feeling a bit sheepish that her teenage spots had caused such bother. Her skin cleared up, and so too did the minds of the dial painters. When one of the greatest radium authorities in the world tells you that you have no need to worry, quite simply, you don't. Instead, they laughed about the effect the dust had on them. Nasal discharges on my handkerchief, Grace Fryer remembered, used to be luminous in the dark. One dial painter, known as a lively Italian girl, painted the material all over her teeth one night before a date, wanting a smile that would knock him dead. Those budding romances of the girls were now coming into full flower. Hazel and Theo were as close as ever, and Quinta started courting a young man called James MacDonald. But it was May Coverley who became a winter bride on December 23rd, 1917. As was traditional, she wanted to leave work right away, but Mr. Savoy asked her to stay a little longer, so she was still in the studio when Sarah Mylefer signed on that same month. Sarah was a little different from the other girls. For a start, she was older at 28, a shy, matronly woman who often seemed a little separate from the teenagers, though they were inclusive of her. Sarah was broad-shouldered with short, dark hair, and those shoulders needed to be broad, for she was also a single mother. She had a 6-year-old daughter, Marguerite, named after Sarah's little sister. Sarah had married back in 1909. Her husband, Henry Mylefer, was a tall French-Irish sexton with black hair and black eyes. But Henry had disappeared. Where he was now, nobody knew. And so, Sarah and Marguerite still lived with her mom and pop, Sarah and Stephen Carlo, as well as her sister Marguerite, who was 16. Stephen was a painter and decorator, and the family were hardworking, reasonable people. Sarah, too, was hardworking and would become one of the most loyal employees the radium company had. For May Coverley Canfield, however, her loyalty had come to an end. Soon after she married, she became pregnant, and therefore handed in her notice in the early months of 1918. That chapter of her life was over. Her place was quickly filled. That year, an estimated 95% of all the radium produced in America was given over to the manufacture of radium paint for use on military dials. The plant was running at full capacity. By the end of the year, 1 in 6 American soldiers would own a luminous watch, and it was the Orange girls who painted many of them. Jane Stalker, nicknamed Jenny, was a new recruit, and in July, a slim, elfin-featured girl called Helen Quinlan joined. She was an energetic woman whom the company rather sniffily described as the type that did altogether too much running around for her own good. She had a boyfriend she often brought to the girls' picnics, a smart, blonde young man who wore a shirt and tie to the gatherings. He and Helen posed for a picture at one of them. Helen had her skirts flapping around her knees, always on the move, while he stared at her rather than the camera, looking utterly besotted with this playful creature he had somehow been lucky enough to meet. The women were still encouraging their families to join them in their work. In September 1918, Catherine wrote proudly, "I obtained a position for Irene at the factory." Irene Rudolph was her orphaned cousin, the same age as Catherine. She lived with the Sharps. Perhaps, understandably given her early life, Irene was a cautious, thoughtful young lady. Rather than spending her wages on silks and furs, as some of the other girls did, she squirreled it away in a savings account. She had a narrow face and nose with dark eyes and hair. The only picture of her that survives shows her somewhat downcast. A month after Irene started, another new employee began work. But this was no dial painter striding into a new job. This was Arthur Roeder, a highly successful businessman who was the company's new treasurer. He'd already demonstrated a skill for seizing career opportunities. Though he had left his university without a degree, he'd ascended rapidly through the ranks of his chosen career. A round-faced, smart-looking man with a Roman nose and thin lips, he favored bow ties and pomade, which he slicked through his dark hair to press it close to his skull. He was based at the head office in New York, and now took on responsibility for the dial painters. Though he said he was in the studio on numerous occasions, his presence there was an exception, as most of the executives rarely went inside. In fact, of the firm's top men, Grace Fryer remembered von Serhotsky passing through her place of work just once. She didn't pay it much attention at the time, but it would come to take on a great significance. She was at her desk, as usual that day, lipping and dipping her brush, as were all the other girls. Von Serhotsky, as per his usual, had his head full of ideas and complex science as he walked briskly about his work. On this occasion, as he passed swiftly through the studio, he stopped and looked straight at her and at what she was doing, as though seeing her actions for the first time. Grace glanced up at him. He was a memorable-looking man, with a dominant nose and close-cut dark hair above his slightly protruding ears. Conscious of the pace of work around her, she bent again to her task and slipped the brush between her lips. "Do not do that," he said to her suddenly. Grace paused and looked up, perplexed. This was how you did the job, how all the girls did it. "Do not do that," He said to her again, "You will get sick." And then he was on his way. Grace was utterly confused. Never one to back down from something she thought needed further investigation, she went straight over to Miss Rooney. But Miss Rooney merely repeated what the girls had already been told. "She told me there was nothing to it," Grace later recalled. "She told me it was not harmful." So, Grace went back to her work. Lip, dip, paint. There was a war on, after all. But not for much longer. On November 11th, 1918, the guns fell silent. Peace reigned. More than 116,000 American soldiers had lost their lives in the war. The total death toll for all sides was around 17 million. And in that moment of the armistice, the Radium girls, the company executives, and the world gave thanks that the brutal, bloody conflict was over. Enough people had died. Now, they thought, it was time for living. 4. Exactly 1 month after the armistice, Quinta Maggio put those seize-the-day principles into action, marrying James MacDonald. He was a cheery man of Irish heritage who worked as a chain store manager. The newlyweds set up home in a 2-story cottage. To begin with, Quinta was still dial painting, but that didn't last long. She left the firm in February 1919 and soon became pregnant. Her daughter, Helen, would be born 2 days after Thanksgiving. Nor was she the only dial painter to depart. The war was over. The girls were growing up. Irene Corby also resigned, having landed a job as an office girl in New York City. Later, she would marry the rather dashing Vincent Laporte, a man with piercing blue eyes who worked in advertising. Those who left were quickly replaced. Sarah Mylefer managed to get a position for her little sister, Marguerite Carlo, in August 1919. She was a dynamic young woman who wore rouge and lipstick and liked dramatic clothes, smart tailored coats with oversized lapels, and wide-brimmed hats with feathered edges. Marguerite became best friends with the little sister of Josephine Smith, Genevieve, who had also started working there. Another close friend was Albina Magia, who was still slaving away over her trays of dials, having seen her younger sister marry ahead of her. Albina didn't resent Quinta's happiness, but she couldn't help but wonder when her time might come. That summer, she too decided to leave, returning to hat trimming. It was a time of change all round. That same summer, Congress passed the 19th Amendment, giving women the right to vote. Grace Fryer, for one, couldn't wait to make it count. At the plant, too, change was afoot. Soon, a new chemist and future vice president, Howard Barker, together with von Sahotsky, started playing around with the recipe of the luminous paint, substituting mesothorium for radium. A memo revealed Barker would just mix whatever he had around the place and sell it, 50-50 or 10% mesothorium and 90% radium, or whatever. Mesothorium was an isotope of radium, dubbed radium-228 to denote its difference from the normal radium-226. Also radioactive, but with a half-life of 6.7 years, in contrast to radium-226's 1,600 years. It was more abrasive than radium and, crucially for the firm, much cheaper. In the studio, meanwhile, the girls, for some unknown reason, were asked to try a new technique. Edna Bowles remembered. They passed little cloths around. We were supposed to wipe the brush on this little cloth instead of putting it in our mouth. But within a month, Edna said, they were taken away from us. We were not allowed to use the cloths. It wasted too much of the radium. She concluded the lips were resorted to as the better way. It was important to the company that the production process be as efficient as possible, because the demand for luminous products showed no signs of slowing, even now the war was over. In 1919, much to new treasurer Arthur Roeder's delight, there was a production high, 2.2 million luminous watches. No wonder Catherine Sharp was feeling tired. That fall, she noticed cracking and stiffness of her legs. She was feeling in poor spirits generally. As her mother had passed away that year, Catherine became closer to her father, William, as they grieved. Yet life, as Catherine's orphaned cousin Irene Rudolph knew too well, goes on, even when those we love die. She and Catherine could do nothing but knuckle down to their jobs, alongside their fellow workers, still toiling in the dust-filled studio. Marguerite Carlo and her sister Sarah Mylefer, Edna Bowles and Grace Fryer, Hazel Vincent and Helen Quinlan, Jenny Stalker, and, still making everyone laugh, Ella Eckert and Molly Magia, who were in fact two of the fastest workers, despite their hijinks at the company socials. They played hard, but they were tough workers too. You had to be, to keep your job. Still, the endless orders came. The company began to consider its post-war strategy. It resolved to expand its presence in the field of radium medicine. Arthur Roeder also oversaw the trademarking of Undark. Peacetime frivolity meant there were numerous products customers wanted to make glow in the dark. The company now sold its paint directly to consumers and manufacturers who performed their own application. All this gave the radium firm another idea. They planned to set up in-house studios for watch manufacturers.
Ici, papa. Non, non, assieds-toi pas, bébé. Assieds-toi pas, debout. Debout. Debout, là, faut remettre ton pyjama. Remets debout. Debout, bébé. Pardon. Ouais. Ben, tu fais-tu là ou parce que là, je retourne live, là. Fait que c'est là ou pas pantoute, là. Hein? Tu viens-tu m'aider avec le chien ou pas? Non. Ben, ça, tu vas faire ça. C'est ça fait, tu vois, quand même. Non. Faut que je fasse le souper. C'est How did we do? Let me know. Hi, welcome. Hello. I cooked. Why no fun? Well, yeah, we're gonna have to cook too. Soonish. Second chance sale at Princess House. Yeah. Okay, I would love to know the final count. If you have it, let us know. It's fine if you don't. I actually managed to do 5 more listings. And then read a little bit more of the audiobook of Radium Girls. So far, it's pretty much the setup of what's going to happen. I didn't know about them. I've heard about them with Billy Sarian. And yeah, the descriptive stuff, like the things that they describe, I know it's going to be horrible later in the book. So yeah, I don't know how much I'll be able to manage today of that book. We'll see. For now, I'm still continuing. I'm 1 hour in, and it's a pretty long one. It's 16 hours. So listening at 1.5 speed. So yeah. Let me know what you've read, what you're doing. What did you cook? You said you cooked. What did you cook? So we'll start the next one at 00. Let's go with that. Stop that banner. Okay. I might pick up another book. I'm not sure. I should be photoshopping because my photos are too big for this website. But I can't run Photoshop at the same time as I'm streaming, so not sure at all what I'll do with that. We'll see. I read half a page of She Drives Me Crazy, and now I'm trying to figure out when my library will reopen. I haven't heard of that one. Are you enjoying it or not? If you want to go to the library, I'm guessing you don't want it anymore. Let me know. I'll check. Please. Sorry. Okay, there's like a million She Drives Me Crazy books with that title. Which one is it? I also have to get my bullet journals ready for filming. Probably be filming tomorrow, so I might do that later when I'm done with my listings online, even if I don't have any photos. I really like it so far. It's enemies to lovers but lesbian. Oh, nice. Sounds cool. I'm not much a romance reader, but nice. Yeah. My to-do list is way too long. I think I need to put everything down to get it off of my head. It's by Kelly Quinlan. I think it's the first one I saw. Yeah. I see Ashley from Bookish Realm really enjoyed it. I might add it. A girl enthused with living sounds like a fun time. I still laugh when someone called the main character a homo. Jenny Weasley. Okay. I haven't read it, so I can't relate. Hálaselo. I'll be eating in the next one, so I'll go and check for a 45 minutes. If that's okay with everyone. Let's go with this one. I really hate that I have to redo all of my photos. It takes such a long time. Anyways, I'll see if I can find a shortcut to that. Three minutes. We'll start the next one. I'll just start it right now because I'm kind of hungry and I want to get a supper. So I'll see you all in 45 minutes. Happy reading, productivity, all that good stuff. All right, how did we do? Let me know. I ate supper and then some leftovers, and then came back to work and listened a little bit more of the Radium Girls, which I'm 10% through. Yeah, and I think I'm gonna stop it here because it's just enough of that book. It gives me chills. So small dosage of the book. I saw you commented this, and I was like, where was I? Where, what French? And then I saw this, and I'm guessing that you were rewatching. Yeah, decided to clean up, and that's good. We do need to clean up and listen to your book. What book are you talking about? Radium Girls? Glad you're being productive. Thank you. I'm glad I am too. Cooked some green beans, rice, and steak. Was so hungry. That sounds good. That sounds so dainty. Oh, we have a final count. So, Princess, counting and work call is done. I have around 1,300 books with 231 read, and 126 of those, 300 is doubles. Okay, I was close with my 1,200. Not so bad. So over 1,000. That's a lot. And you have like over 1,000 books you haven't read so far. Wow. Yeah, I have 70-ish books I haven't read, and it gives me a lot of anxiety knowing I haven't read all those books yet. I could not manage not have read over 1,000 books. But I'm glad for you. It's really great, though. You have a lot of books to choose from. All right. I don't mind having hella books to read. I wouldn't mind either. It means you have a lot of choice. Gives me opinions and worlds. Yep, definitely. Totally agree. In series, yeah. I can imagine. I hit the 1,000 on my want to read list on Goodreads, but probably at least a third of those books I probably don't want to read anymore. I should do a little cleanup on that list, but who has the time? Not me, for sure. I'm feeling kind of tired. I'm almost done, though. I'm just really annoyed with my photo things because my photos aren't in the same format than for that platform than I usually use for Etsy, and that's kind of really annoying and bothers me, and I have to re-crop everything, all of my photos, and it's a lot. So I won't be doing that tonight because I can't run Photoshop at the same time as I'm streaming. I might do. See, usually I would start getting ready for bed with my son and all. I don't need to do that tonight. He probably will be calling, though. He did call earlier today, and I'm guessing he's gonna want to call before he goes to bed. But yeah, I'm probably going to continue writing all of my listings. At least that will be done. And I'll just have to put my photos in once it's done and just publish it. I'll see. I'm hella tired. I feel ya. I'm really, really tired. I fell asleep. I had a huge nap yesterday afternoon, and it made me worse. So I try not to do that anymore. Especially because I have light apnea. Is that how you call it? Sleeping apnea. And it's not treated. And I also do sleep paralysis. I don't know if that's how they call it in English. But I think I'm waking up, but I'm not. And I'm paralyzed and I can't wake up. And it's creepy and it makes me panic and I hate it. I'm used to it now. But when I'm even more tired, this tends to happen because my mind kind of goes in a state of in between and I can't wake up. And I am aware of everything that's happening around me. And I'm trying to wake up and it doesn't work. And I hate it. And it makes me angry every time. And that happened to me when I woke up from my nap yesterday. So when that happens, it's the worst. I wake up the worst. Yeah, so it doesn't help at all. Unfortunately, I have to run away because quite a big storm has just broken. And it's almost 1 a.m. I wish you all productive sessions and good books. Thank you. Please be safe. I hope you're safe where you are. Sleep it off. I guess I'll send you all the positive vibes. We hate big storms. It's not fun. So good night, and I hope everything goes well. Probably keep on streaming, going live tomorrow, and sprinting tomorrow as well. So if you want to join, you can as well. But I know you're way further in time than me. That's a lot. Yep. That is a lot. I have no idea. I really don't know. It will mostly depend on how I'm feeling. Maybe in the morning, my morning, or afternoon. I don't know. I don't like being live at the same time as other people are live. And I know that tomorrow there's a couple of people who are going to be live. So I'll try to not go at the same time. When I leave, I'll try to schedule it so that you can click the notification and be notified when I go live. It's fine. I'm okay. I'm not drowning in books at all. Well, isn't it a dream, though, to be drowning in books? It's not a bad thing, I think. I would love to have 1,300 books. Why don't you like being live when others are live? Because I like supporting other people, especially people that we talk with a lot. I prefer not being at the same time and just support one another. I don't know. It's fine. The more the better. Yeah, but I mean, we can all be in the same live. That's the point. Princess gonna make it rain with paper bags. That'd be cool. Hi, Bree. Thank you. How you doing? Yeah. Okay. I think I'll do maybe a last one. It's hard to schedule because there's a lot of sprints. Yeah, but I mean, I try to, there's a lot of people that I follow on BookTube, and I try to, not all of them sprint. A lot of them are during my evenings, my time. A lot of them, some of them are during the afternoon. So I usually can't join those sprints because I usually work. Now it's summer and I'm not teaching, so I can now, but sometimes I can't. And yeah, I I try to, at least the people I talk to the most, people on mostly Princesses Discord, which we talk with a lot. I try not to go at the same time as them. Gonna go now. Have a good evening. Thank you, Princess, for coming. I appreciate it. Have a nice evening to you as well, and some good rest, well-deserved rest. That's why I will pop in to support, even if it's just for a little while. Yeah, exactly. That's why I do that as well, because it's not easy to sprint when you're alone. I used to do that during the morning, like very, very early in the mornings, because I woke up at like 3 a.m. in the morning, which is like 3 a.m. EST because I am EST. And no one except Anya who showed up. But no one basically showed up, and it was fine. I was just talking to myself during the sprint. But yeah, I just needed the motivation to get to work and do stuff, be productive. We need more hours in the day. Yes, we do. I have so much to do in one day. I can't. It's just too much. I am in my first week of summer vacation, time off, unpaid vacation, and I can see time going really way too fast, and I'm not going to have enough time to do everything I planned to do, and it's bugging me a lot. Yeah, I would take a couple of more hours in a day to do everything I need to do. I did a sprint earlier today. Yeah, I saw that. I'm sorry, I missed it. We had some appointments that we needed to get to. We have a new dog, a new puppy. We've had him for a week now, and he went to be sterilized today. So we went to get him back at around 1:30ish. So yeah, I know I saw it and it was already ended. It was me and your mom. Oh, I'm sorry I missed that. But she don't type, so she called me a hot mess. It's fine. That's cute though, with your mom. People around me don't understand what sprints are, and my husband is fine now with it, but at first it was like, what are you doing? And he was judging me. And coming from a gamer who listens a lot on Twitch and all of those gaming people, like, why are you judging me? It's the same thing. At least I'm productive while I sprint. But yeah, that's cute that you do it with your mom. I love that. I'll try and join the next, because I saw it was on Tuesdays, so I'll try next time to join your sprint. So I was trying to explain it to her most of the time. Yeah, it can be confusing for people who never saw what sprints are. I get it a lot. So it's 7. I'm going to do one last 30-minute sprint. I'll see you all in 30. I'll put up banner. And then I'll just take a break because it's going to be too much for today. Happy reading, happy sprinting. All right, and we're done. Last sprint. I am tired and I feel that I'm going to go to bed soonish. My husband just brought me a nice cup of warm coffee, which is very nice of him. So I'll be drinking my coffee and trying to read. But I think that's gonna be my evening, and I'll see tomorrow what I do. What is my plan? I did want to do a plan of my week and get a to-do list done. But honestly, like I don't have the energy for that right now. So I'll probably do that tomorrow. So yeah, I might be live tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. I don't know yet. I need to check. I've seen like on my subscription list that some people were live. So I'm gonna just be sure that I'm not live at the same time as other people. I know that Brandy's at 8 p.m. So that's fine. 6 p.m., 6 p.m. And then there's a premiere at 1. I should be fine for tomorrow morning. Unless someone else decides to do sprints. But yeah, probably tomorrow morning. I'll try and see if I can schedule that. I do Tuesday deck days, but I plan to switch up times. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I usually can during the week, but now that it's summer, I'm trying to make the most of it and hope to be as productive as possible. So if you're sprinting, I'll try to get the notification on for whenever you're live. Let me see. Why am I not subscribed? I was sure I was subscribed. I'm sorry. That's why I didn't see your notification. There you go. All done. All right, that's gonna be it for me today. I have a little bit of a headache, so I'm going to just grab a book and drink my coffee. And yeah, until I go to bed. That's gonna be it for me. I'll be schedule the one sprint for tomorrow, and then I'll see on Thursday. I probably won't be able to sprint during the morning. Oh no, wait. Are we the 6th? See, I'm so confused. I thought we were already the 6th, but we're not. We're the 5th, so nobody's sprinting tomorrow. That's gonna change a tiny bit, a lot of things. I won't be able to sprint then on the 7th because people are sprinting during the afternoon and the evening, or maybe in the afternoon. We'll see. But I have my first business coach meeting tomorrow, after tomorrow on the 7th in the morning. So I'll see where I go from there. But for tomorrow, for sure, I'll schedule something. So thank you for everyone for coming and supporting me. I always appreciate it. And I'll see you all tomorrow. If you want to come, if you don't want to, it's fine as well. And thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.